The thing that I want to talk to you about that I fucking brought
Well,
notes
you got
about, and
your
I've
list?
been wanting to talk to you about this for days. I'm
so
watching a
stoked.
show on Showtime called Polyamory.
No, I know. That's the one that's where we got Polly and Bi.
You've seen the show
one.
on Showtime?
Years ago.
Yeah, it's like
an
10
old
years
one.
old.
Rob, you say you're a mommy. We covered this like a decade ago.
Really?
Maybe
Why
that's
don't I remember this?
This is how we got into polyamory. He's the
Why
one. He's
don't I
like,
remember this?
that's the guy who gave us the drop. Like Jesse and I.
Oh, really?
That's him. He's like the martial arts guy or MMA guy. And the Pule. He calls it the Pule.
No, he's like a girly. No, he calls it a triad.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a different one.
I was gonna say,
No,
don't
no,
you
no.
fucking question my mommy.
I was gonna say
my mommy ship.
I'm so sorry.
My
because
mommyhood.
There's a documentary. No, this is the one. They're fluid bonding with Jesse. That's fluid bonding with Jesse. Right? Is this a show?
So here's what happens. In like the first episode, they move the other couple into their garage to live in like their love shack, and they're like, we put a family photo over the bed for you. Nadav, can you show the family photo that I sent you?
Stop.
They're like, we put a family photo over the bed. Look at this. I mean, that is,
wow.
And for people who are just listening,
God, it's so
the
good.
four of them in all naked in a professionally done, like when you take your kids to make a Christmas card.
That's so good. And she's got the barbed wire tattoo.
Yeah, the tribal barbed wire, mixing both genres.
I mean, what's amazing about the barbed wire tattoo is just how popular that was. Like, I would say it is the gold standard of shitty tattoos.
Yeah, that and like that tribal thing on the lower back.
The tribal.
It was like you got those together almost. Like it was like you don't know what to get first. Like, oh, what's going to make me more of a whore? I guess the barbed wire, because everyone sees that, you know?
Now, could you imagine, because I always try to relate to people, and because there is a little bit of everybody in you, right? And you're like, I kind of get this. I get the attraction of like, it would be cool to have more than one dick in my life, kind of. But then how do you do children? How do you do not being jealous? How do you do life? Like, this is when you're 20.
Well, see, here's the deal. When I watched this show, I was like, I'm going to watch this for 5 minutes because I know it's going to be stupid and whatever. And the way they got me in is in the first 5 minutes, the couple is talking about how jealous they are of the person that she's fucking. Like, the girl's like, oh, I'm fucking this new guy, and like, he's my boyfriend, this. And they're like, whoa, like, you have to talk to the triad about this. They call the three of them the triad. And they're like, you're weakening the triad right now, blah, blah. It is, and I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And watching, like, there's one, they show two different like things going on. And one of them you see they're like, oh, is this like an out of work actress and she wants to like whatever. The other one is just like full real. They're really being like themselves. And it is so fucking interesting. And at one point, this girl, so the four of them are like on the couch, they're like making love or whatever.
Oh my God.
And her girlfriend comes over to surprise her. And she like grabs her girlfriend and takes her in another room. And she's like, this is the girlfriend I don't share. Like, I'm not ready to share her or whatever. And her husband is like, you're acting real mono right now. Which, for those of you who are listening, short for monogamous.
It's like such an insult.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that picture of them. I mean, oh, my God.
Is that their wedding? Like, they're all in white? Like, their poly wedding?
He's got the cut off sleeves. And
my God.
They're so, and they all have the same look, like they are a leader of a cult.
Yeah.
And they wear like the gemstone necklaces, like the oversized things. And they're but you know what I really like about them?
Yeah.
Is they seem
so lost.
They seem autistic. Really, in a way that everything they do, it's like, may I hug you right now? May I give you a kiss? It's like, may I touch your back? It's like, are you okay with this? Are you okay with touch? Like, everything is like, are you okay with that? Which I kind of like.
You like the upfrontness, the boundary
because
setting.
They don't ask like being like when they get rejected, they get upset. Like if they say, can I hug you right now? And someone's like, no, thank you. They're like, okay, like they're okay with it, which is, imagine if life was like that. If people could just say like, hey, do you mind if I do this? And you're like, no, not right now. And they're like, okay. Like instead of having to be like, oh, I think this person's gonna be really offended if I say I don't want to hug them right now. Like like the girl's like, I need a minute. And they're like, okay, yeah, we totally get that.
I mean, I guess you have to be so, okay. The reality is you've got to be like so horny that the horniness overrides logic and human emotion. Is that what this is? Like you just need to, but you don't want to just be single and fuck a lot of different people. You want to have both worlds. You want to have companionship and you're super horny. Is that what this is?
It's hard to, I think it's like different for people. Like, I don't think it's like, it's this one thing. Cause I think they're all different, where some of them are just like, oh, I don't experience jealousy and I just want to fuck. And then the problem is sometimes the partner is a very jealous person. Like, okay, so she brings...
I would be a mess to it.
Yeah, especially like watching it. But what do you think you'd be more jealous of? Watching?
Oh, I'd be in a loony bin.
But here you go. Here's the thing. Watching Tom...
Oh my God,
like fuck another chick and it's like all in the same bed. Or Tom comes home and he's like, I just went on the best date. You know who's awesome? Caroline.
Just fucking... I'd be down.
Yeah.
Out. I think, can I tell you that one clip we used to play on YMH where she's like, nothing makes me happier than knowing that my boyfriend is getting texts from his new girlfriend.
NRE, new relationship energy.
And I was like, nothing would put me in a mental hospital faster than my husband getting texts from another woman. Like,
but isn't there a nice part of that where you go like, oh, I don't have to deal with like all like, you know, because I know like, you know,
yes,
as you get older and you're friends with women and they explain to you why they get in that way of like, I don't want to fuck at the end of the night because my kids have been on me all day and this, I just want a minute to myself. And this, so wouldn't that be like, there's obviously bad and good, but imagine if like any time where your husband's like, hey, come on, too, and you don't want to, you're like, hey, go fuck Carol. Like, you know what I mean?
So a million years ago, Tom and I came up with the idea of a cum dog, like somebody that we could use as a suck puppet or just like a person to be a fuck puppet when you don't want to fuck.
Right.
Like, a cum dog. And we'd tie her up in the backyard and she would drink out of a bowl and like a proper cum dog.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it is kind of, but then like, isn't that what pornography is for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want another person. I don't want him to get feelings for...
But I think what happens is like jerking off is cool when you want to jerk off, but jerking off is not cool when you want to fuck and then a woman tells you, go jerk off. Like, because then while you're jerking off, you're like, I why am I was told to do this. Like, this is kind of sad.
Can I tell you something though? And not like I'm like the most amazing wife, but I seldom say no. Like there's really...
But I'm not even talking about saying no. I'm talking about the times when you're like, okay, like you say yes because you're like, you don't want to say no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Do that.
So you never have to deal with that. You could just go like,
go fuck Carol.
Yeah. And she's like a dead thing in the room. And then as soon as the door opens, she's like, you know, she just like
That's
comes
what
to
I
life.
want. That's what I would like. Yeah.
She's dead all the other time.
Yeah, like Carol can have like a bad personality too. She's gonna be like, come on, Tom, are you gonna come?
Yeah.
She's just so obnoxious.
Yeah.
But she's like pretty. So that he's not attracted to her.
She's always chewing gum.
Yeah. Breath smells like onions.
Yes. You gonna be doing it, Tom? Yeah. But she's smoking hot.
You can't parallel park. Like she's just diminishing you at every turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? Your wife didn't want to fuck you again? So you came in the room? Fill up my dog bowl and we'll fuck.
Right, but she's hot. So like I'll let her be super hot, but she's gotta be dumb as like just a doorknob.
That's the craziest.
So
is before you have sex with a girl,
so dumb.
like my friends in New York had a house where it was like a big party house, and sometimes for the weekend they would just have people come in. And sometimes there'd be girls who were so hot, and you, like, you know, if you don't fuck them, you don't notice. But if you do hook up with them, you go, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize before, like she was doing this stuff, and I thought it was like, you know, like I thought that was like funny or whatever, like or like a cute, or because you're so blinded by the like, oh my God, she's so like there could just be like a way a girl stands that you're like, oh my God, where she could be saying anything and you're like, yeah, like so great, and then like 3 days later you're like, well, you see her like do this, and like I can't even think of like an exact...
what's the biggest turn off? Like what shrank your dick?
It's just personality. It's just that thing of like, you know, it's like, you know what it is? It's somebody who to me like doesn't chill. You know, where you're like, oh, let's just chill. And they're not like, okay, like, and they're like, yeah, but what are we going to do?
Oh,
and it's like, what? Like, I don't know. What do you do when you chill? Like, what'd you do before I existed? You know what I mean? Or like the worst to me is when I don't want, like when I was thinking about the hardest part of polyamory for me. It would be
Oh
like,
my
now
God.
I have to convince 2 people to leave a party early.
Right.
You know, like now I have to go to like my girlfriend and be like, hey, like, do you think like it's cool to leave? And then she's like, and she's like, yeah, all right, let's go. And then you go to the other one. She's like, I'm having a good time. And you're like, oh,
Fucking, I
yeah.
know.
And
Fucking
we've been here
Cindy.
for 3 hours.
But maybe that's what the other guy is for, so that like Cindy can stay behind with Rob number 2 or with
Right.
Fred or whatever. So
Yeah,
like, she
or you
can
just leave
fuck
her
off.
in the fuck pile.
She doesn't care. Yeah, like these people have. I don't think they have much respect for themselves. Really, truly, I don't think you can. So maybe you could treat them like cum dogs. Really.
See, I think you can if you don't experience that jealousy thing.
Oh, I don't know how
You
you like.
know?
How are you not? I'm so. I just don't understand how you can be like. Either they're just so evolved, are they just better people than me?
It's
Is that
the
what this
same.
is?
Some people just don't experience certain feelings. Like I never experience shame about my like stupid things I do or personality. Where some people are like,
Oh,
I would
that's
never
true.
say that or like
Oh,
whatever.
that's
And I'm
true.
like,
Yeah, me
I'm like,
too.
why? Like I don't even understand why people are like, oh my God, you'd say that. I'm like, who fucking cares? Like
That's
it
true.
doesn't even make sense to me. Where I'm like. In my head, I'm like, should I say this or not? Like, I don't
Yeah.
even. I'm
No,
like,
no,
no,
me
you
too.
just say. Like, what do you mean?
Autistic twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would so? I think these people have that autisticness of where they don't feel. But the problem is, I think like one person in the couple is usually 100% that way, and the other person is like 50, and they're constantly trying to
Ooh,
push
that's
them.
interesting.
So what happens is, he says to her like, you're acting real mono right now. And then like she goes on a date with her girlfriend. She's like spiraling. She's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So she goes back to him and she's like, I can't believe you said I was acting mono. Like that's really messed up or whatever. And he's like, listen, you're supposed to want me to be with her and not keep her for yourself. That's the polyamory way. And you're not deep enough in this. And I swear they have a close up on
That
her face and
sucks.
she's crying. And 2 seconds later, she goes, I guess I just have more work to do. And it's like, yo, what? Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing I didn't get.
brainwashing.
Polyamory's hard work.
It is hard work. It's
They're
hard
working
work.
hard to be poly.
It's because it goes against. It goes so against, especially with women. I am sorry, but it goes against our way of wanting to couple and procreate. Like the men are convincing the women, I'm assuming.
It goes multiple
Yeah.
ways because there's it goes all
It can't be. You're right that everyone's on board. So it's this constant culty brainwashing of like you're not poly enough. You're just not evolved enough. And then the girl's like, you're right. Maybe I'm a piece of shit.
It's like when you were. It's like
that's
when
terrible.
you were. It's like when you were 12 and you're smoking a cigarette, and some
Shit.
kid is like, "I'm gonna tell," and you're like, "I thought you were cool." You know, it's like you're like, "I thought you were Paul."
Fucking nerd.
You know, like I thought you were fucking Paul.
You're not loose.
Like, and then
Yeah.
the girl's like in her head, like, "Oh my God, am I not poly enough?" Like,
Yeah,
I need
because
to be.
there is like a hippie vibe to this culture.
Oh,
like
very. There's kale everywhere. Like you go, their kitchen is just bushels of kale, and they're like, "Yeah, we're eating lunch. It's just kale."
well, yeah, they're so skinny. I mean, aren't they just shitting all day
They're
too?
just fucking all day and shitting.
Yeah, and farting. Everybody's farting from all the kale.
Yeah, they are all skinny. By the way, I haven't on the show, like unlike your TikToks, I haven't seen one fat poly person. They casted some hot
Well,
Pauls.
it's Showtime. They never cast the uggos.
Yeah.
This is not real life poly. Real life polys are disgusting.
But like they always have the like long hair. And but the weird thing is in this relationship, she's the masculine energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, like we're gonna do this now. And then like
Wow.
the 4 of them will be, and by the way, you see them make love. Like they just the tits and everything. And you're watching it, and then all of a sudden, like in the middle of it, this girl will turn to the other girl and go like, what's the matter? What do you need right now? She's like, she's like, am I giving your husband too much attention? And she's like, no. She's like, am I not giving you enough attention? I mean, these guys are just like hard dicks, like sitting there waiting for these 2 chicks to talk. I would put a fucking gun to my head so fast.
I know.
If I had to listen, oh my God, I'd be
the-
like, what do you need right
The
now?
There's too much communication in the poly.
Yeah, I'd be like,
I think
let's
that's
do
what
this
it
in
is.
let's communicate in 20 minutes.
I agree. Yeah, let's all come and then sort out the feelings later.
Yeah.
I think too what you're saying is that I don't know who's got time for this kind of relationship. If you've got kids, I think they do, right? Like one.
Yeah, they have a kid.
So like, how is all this time for fucking and?
Well, it's like, isn't it so great that we're going to teach him the poly ways now?
Oh my
like, you know, like
God.
he'll be
child abuse.
They take him to the beach, and the 4 of them are on the blanket, like kissing each other,
No.
touching each other, and he's with a kite in the back.
He's like, somebody kidnap me, please. Get me out of this.
Oh yeah, I made notes because I was like, this is
God.
too.
I can't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, the thing that got me. And by the way, there are so many awkward hugs in the show because if two poly people hug each other, the third person always feels like they have to get in on the hug, and then if there's a fourth person, they have to get in. So it usually turns into like a three-way hug that kind of is okay, and then one person is just like trying to get in there. It's like when you see like 10-year-olds playing football and the one kid can't get in the huddle, you know, like, and the one person is just trying to get their hug on, you know,
trying to force.
It's like, yeah, just sit this hug out.
Did you like that highlight? I mean, how much fun was that? Why don't you watch a bunch more? We made a bunch more for you to watch. And then why don't you subscribe to my show? Subscribe to Where My Mom's At. That way, every time I drop an episode, you just get it. You don't have to think about it. And then hit the notification bell so you can get notified of all the great stuff that I make. Watch other highlight. Treat yourself. Get your life right.